What would you do if the car you bought for your wife, the one you trusted her life with, was sitting under a flickering motel light at 11:47 p.m. in a place she had no reason to be? The neon sign buzzed above me, casting that sick red glow over the cracked asphalt of the Sunset Ridge Motel off Highway 287, just outside Dallas. My hands were locked around the steering wheel, knuckles white, breath shallow. Our car, was parked 3 spaces ahead, slightly crooked like she'd been in a hurry. She had told me she was in Oklahoma, with her mom who hasn't left Tulsa in 15 years. And as I stepped out of my truck and heard laughter echo faintly from behind one of those cheap motel doors, I realized I was about to find out exactly who my wife really was. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. I didn't knock. I wish I could say I kicked the door in or made some dramatic entrance, but the truth is, I froze. I stood there in the humid Texas night, staring at room 214, my heart pounding so loud I thought it might give me away. Then I heard her. A laugh I hadn't heard in months. Light, carefree, alive. Not the cold, distant tone she used with me lately. That laugh wasn't meant for me anymore. I stepped back slowly, like if I moved too fast the whole illusion would shatter. I got back in my truck and sat there, staring at that door, replaying every moment of the last 6 months. The late nights, the sudden girls' trips, the way she'd started locking her phone, the way she stopped touching me. I drove home that night without confronting her, because in that moment, I realized something dangerous. I didn't just want answers. I wanted control. The next morning, she called me. "Hey," she said casually. "Made it to Tulsa late. Mom's already asleep." Her voice was smooth, practiced. I leaned against the kitchen counter, phone pressed to my ear, staring at the coffee she used to make for me every morning. "Long drive?" I asked. "Yeah." "Exhausting." I smiled to myself, but there was nothing warm about it. "Get some rest," I said. "We'll talk tomorrow." "Love you." I paused just long enough. "Yeah," I said. "You too." The humiliation didn't hit all at once. It seeped in. At work, I'd zone out staring at spreadsheets, imagining her with him. At night, I'd lie in bed alone, staring at the ceiling fan, wondering how long I'd been the joke. I started noticing everything I had ignored. Receipts in her purse from places she never mentioned. A gas station near Fort Worth. A bar called Whiskey Cove. Motel charges disguised as miscellaneous. She got smarter with her lies. Colder with me. "You're being paranoid," she snapped one night after I casually asked about her trip. "I just asked how your mom is." "She's fine." "God, do you always have to interrogate me?" Interrogate. That word stuck. Because suddenly, I realized I wasn't her husband anymore. I was an inconvenience. I broke a week later. Sat in my truck outside a grocery store, staring at nothing, hands shaking. I had just seen her texting, smiling at her phone like she used to smile at me. And something inside me finally snapped. I wasn't going to be the guy who begged. I wasn't going to be the guy who cried. If she wanted to play games, I'd change the rules. I started gathering proof. Quietly, carefully. I hired a private investigator. A guy named Rick who didn't ask questions, just nodded and said, "You want the truth, or you want something you can live with?" "The truth," I said. He got me everything. Photos of her walking into that same motel, multiple times. Videos of her with him. Laughing, touching, kissing. His name was Derek. Mid-30s. Real estate broker. Married. Of course he was. There were texts too. Rick cloned her phone through some method I didn't fully understand. Messages that made my stomach turn. "I miss you already. Last night was insane." He has no idea. I read every word. Then I stopped feeling anything. The plan came together slowly. I didn't confront her. Not once. Instead, I played the part. The tired husband. The distant one. I even apologized. "Maybe I've been stressed," I told her one night. "Work's been killing me." Her eyes softened just a little. Not because she cared, but because it made things easier for her. That's when I knew I had her. I contacted Derek's wife. Her name was Angela. We met at a diner on Elm Street. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "I had a feeling," she said quietly, staring at the photos I slid across the table. I nodded. "We don't have to do this alone." She looked up at me, something hard forming behind her eyes. "What do you have in mind?" 2 weeks later, everything was ready. Legal filings. Financial separation. Evidence compiled and backed up in 3 different places. I had already moved most of my assets. She had no idea. The exposure happened on a Saturday. Derek was hosting an open house for a luxury property in Frisco. Big event. Clients, colleagues, his entire professional circle. My wife was there. Of course she was. I walked in with Angela beside me. The room was full. Laughter. Champagne glasses clinking. And then I connected my phone to the display screen. The first image appeared. Her. Walking into room 214. The room went silent. Then the video started. No music. Just raw footage. Her voice. His voice. Everything. She turned toward the screen, her face draining of color. "What the hell is this?" she whispered. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. "This," I said calmly, "is the truth." Derek tried to step in. "Turn that off right now." Angela stepped forward and slapped him so hard the sound echoed. People were already pulling out their phones. Whispers spread like wildfire. My wife looked at me, eyes wide, desperate. "Please, we can talk about this." I shook my head slowly. "We're done talking." The fallout was immediate. Derek lost listings within days. His firm cut ties quietly but quickly. Angela filed for divorce. I had already filed mine. My wife, she had nothing. No access to the accounts. No leverage. Just evidence stacked against her. She tried calling, texting, showing up at my office. I never answered. The last time I saw her was in court. She looked smaller, quieter, like someone had turned the volume down on her entire existence. She avoided my eyes. Good. The judge finalized everything in under 20 minutes. Clean. Efficient. Final. That night, I drove past the Sunset Ridge Motel one last time. The neon sign still flickered. Room 214 was dark. Empty. Like it had never mattered. I sat there for a moment, engine idling, then pulled away without looking back. Because the truth is, the worst part wasn't losing her. It was realizing she was never mine to lose. The end.